Putting together a fresh fruit platter is something that can be done quickly and badly, or quickly and beautifully. The tips in this video will help you create a stunning masterpiece. Quick and beautiful, that's definitely a food presentation win. I've been down to our local fruit and veggie shop, and this is what I found for our platter today. I've got a nice piece of watermelon here. I've also got a cantaloupe, or rock melon as it's known here, some oranges, strawberries, green kiwi fruit, and a pineapple. Here's another piece of rock melon. I have something in mind to show you with the whole melon, so I need a bit extra. And we've got some red grapes. I only use seasonal fruit on a fruit platter. It's much more affordable, and no matter what fruit is available, you can still create a stunning platter arrangement. There might be some of you watching from a different country in a different season, but you'll still be able to use these tips and ideas and apply them to the fruit that you can find. Let's prepare our fruit. I'm going to start with the pineapple, which brings us to a common question. Do we need to peel the fruit or not? Think about the practicality of it. Is it easier to eat with the skin on, like watermelon? Or is it yuck and hairy, like kiwi fruit? Putting together a quick fruit platter doesn't simply mean cutting through the fruit and skin and leaving it at that. Sometimes you see a hunk of pineapple like this on a fruit platter. But have you ever actually tried to eat it like this? You've got this hard core piece here, and then this bit is awfully stringy. It's almost impossible to pull it off with your teeth. So the answer to the question of do we need to peel fruit or not comes down to how it's being eaten and whether peeling it will make it easier and more enjoyable to eat. It might only take a few extra minutes to peel something, but it can make all the difference to a fruit platter. Let's carry on and peel this pineapple. When peeling fruit, if you cut off the top and bottom, it gives a sturdy base. This makes it easier to peel down the sides following the contour of the fruit. I once worked with a chef who said fruit isn't square, so don't make it square by being lazy with your peeling. Make sure you cut just behind the eyes of the pineapple so you can remove them. I also use my serrated bread knife for peeling large fruit. It does a great job of cutting through the thicker skins. If you cut your pineapple into quarters after you've peeled it, you can also remove the hard core section, which isn't that nice to eat. Have you ever made pineapple juice before? You can use the skins and core pieces and make a lovely pineapple juice. Here's a link to an older video which will show you how. Oranges are a fruit that can easily be eaten without being peeled. However, I'm going to peel mine today because I plan to slice them. I think that will best fit in with my overall platter style. You also need to decide which fruit is for eating and which is going to be used for garnishing. These two kiwi fruit will be for slicing, and I'll use the other one for garnishing. If you've never tried peeling kiwi fruit with a spoon, you should try it. All you need to do is cut off the top and bottom, then make a little slit and carefully slide a spoon between the skin and the flesh. Then work your way around and the skin will come away. It works well with ripe fruit, but if it's still a bit hard, it can be more difficult. Doesn't it look more natural when it's kept circular? I'm going to peel this piece of melon too. Rock melon has some green flesh right under the skin. It isn't sweet, so it's best to remove it down to the beautiful orange coloured flesh. You can also scrape the seeds out easily with a teaspoon. Nobody likes eating too many of those. We'll cut it in half so it's ready to slice for our platter. Let's make a melon flower next to use as our central garnish or showpiece. Of course, I'm going to cut off the top and bottom to make a solid base first. Then I'm going to cut V-cuts or a zigzag pattern through the middle of the melon. Notice how I'm holding my knife a little differently to control the depth of the cut. You need to stick it in quite far, but not all the way through to the other side by accident. Oops, even though I've gone right around, I haven't quite loosened it properly. If this happens, just retrace your lines. You'll notice a few spots you might not have cut deep enough. It should pop apart pretty easily. There, doesn't that look fantastic for so little effort? This makes a great central point on your platter and adds an eye-catching wow factor. We can take it a step further though. I'm not a fruit carver, and I know people have done some amazing things with fruit carving. But here at Easy Peasy Kitchen, I show you simple things you can do to still achieve a wow factor. If you want to take this melon a step further, you can add an additional V-cut to each triangular section. Try to keep the distance the same all the way around and only cut deep enough to get through the skin. This technique also works well with pawpaws or honeydew melon, or anything with a softer, thinnish skin. Once you've made your way around, cut down each petal as if you were peeling the melon. Only go down as far as the bottom of the triangle. When you've done all the petals, carefully pull out the outer edges and you'll end up with this stunning melon flower. You can also scoop out the seeds to create a basket which you can fill with some other fruit. What do you think? It looks like it's taken ages, but really it wasn't much extra effort, was it? I only bought a wedge of watermelon, so I can't top and tail it to give it a sturdy base. That's making it a bit tricky to cut. I want to cut it in half with the skin on, so when I slice it they will be triangular pieces. When you have such a beautiful natural shape, you may as well use it to your advantage. I'll square up the edges, ready for slicing soon. I'm going to use the last kiwi fruit to make a couple of decorative flowers. I'm using the same technique as the melon, but notice how my finger is much closer to the tip of the blade so that I don't cut in too deep. Of course, this isn't ideal for eating, but we do have some sliced kiwi fruit for the platter too. Sometimes you might choose to use some of the fruit purely for decorative purposes, like our melon flower. Yay! We're ready for the fun part of putting this together. We've got such a lovely variety of colours, so I'm sure this will look stunning. I like to slice my fruit when making a fruit platter, but of course there are no rules. I love the scope it gives for a creative presentation. Try to keep the slices the same thickness because the consistency will look better. Today I'm going to create a mirror image design on the platter. It spreads out the fruit and it adds balance. When you're putting together a platter like this, think about the colours you have to use. I'm going to put the pineapple slices next to the melon so they both stand out. I'm also going to fan it in the same direction for continuity and visual impact. Fanning out the fruit not only makes it appear like there's more of it, but it also adds a depth that you don't get if you leave the pieces tightly together. The orangey coloured melon won't stand out as well if I put it next to the pineapple, so putting it next to the watermelon looks better. And don't worry about the little gaps around the platter in these early stages. We've got plenty of fruit to use that will fill these in nicely. I usually start with the biggest fruit and then work my way down to the smallest. Remember the odd versus even rule I often mention when it comes to food presentation? An odd number of things has been proven to look better to the eye than an even number. So split up your slices in 3s or 5s if possible. Sometimes this might not work out, so don't be overly pedantic, it's just something to keep in mind. The addition of kiwi fruit to our platter will bring some much needed green colour. Every platter needs some green, so if you can't find green fruit, You can always add some fresh mint or even basil will work. Berry fruit brings the addition of wonderful reds and purples, but they weren't available here at the time of recording this video. Like I said earlier, you don't have to buy expensive fruit. Use anything that's seasonal and you can still create a stunning presentation. Now it's time to add the central melon flower. I love how this platter's coming together. I'm going to fill the melon with our purple grapes. When you're putting grapes on any platter, try to hide the stalky bits. It looks so much better when you arrange them. It's often easiest to do this by tipping the bunch upside down. You can even add a few loose grapes in the gaps if necessary so that it looks nice and full. It's these little things that truly make a difference to the overall presentation of your platter. Last but not least, I'll add the strawberries. I'm going to cut a few into smaller pieces since these are rather large berries and there's not a whole lot of room left. For garnishing, I'll fan a few to spread around. All you need to do is thinly slice through the whole berry and then fan it out. It's so simple yet so effective, isn't it? Doesn't that look fantastic? Remember at the start of the video, I said putting together a fresh fruit platter is something that can be done quickly and badly, or quickly and beautifully? I think you'll agree this falls into the second category. I'm sure anyone who saw a platter like this would say it's got a wow factor. And it wasn't hard, was it? You might have noticed I still have a bit of fruit left over. Just because I have it, it doesn't mean I need to squash it all on the plate. This would ruin the presentation. So what can we do with this? We could eat it, we could store it in the fridge for another day, or why not use it to create another platter? Have you seen this video where we create and share more fruit platter arranging tips and tricks? Why don't you go and check it out? See you over there.